There are a lot of variations of the ball and chain sweep. I like to do it in two different ways. I'm going to show it for a couple of reasons. First of all, it works even against good opponents who are very good at passing the guard. Second, it illustrates some really critical principles about the guard, about how we use movement to create structure and then use that structure to defend our guard, then move again to create better structure. And the third thing is it shows what you can do with some grips, even if your opponent defends the grips that you actually want. So if Jesse's in combat base, I'm going to show this from a couple different angles. If Jesse's in combat base, this is a very good passing position. For one thing, he can move. He can choose to stand if he wants. He can choose to go back to his knees if he wants. And I can't close my guard around him, so I can't trap him. A lot of folks like to knee cut from this position. And so my first move is going to be to post on the mat and move my hips back. This is one of the things that we're going to use to introduce what we call the shin on shin hook, but I'll get here for a second. The reason I want to move back if he's here is if Jesse starts to knee cut, you see how he's already crested my hips line? And two of my most powerful tools to defend the guard, my feet and my knees, he's already passed them. So I can't let him do that. I'll show you that from another angle as well. But I'm going to post, move my butt back. Now, whichever side his knee is up, I'm going to bring my foot in and just make a hook. We call this the shin on shin hook. We're going to use this for a lot of advanced guard work, but for today, this is just where we're going to get. We're going to use it to do the sweep. First version of the sweep. If he reaches for me with this hand, I'm going to grab and feed. When I feed it, ideally, I want to make a sleeve grip, 4 fingers in with this sleeve. Now, not only have I taken away his base, but I've also taken away a bit of his posture. You see how his shoulder is headed down? If he tries to posture up, it's going to be really difficult for him. And all I need to do is move him this way, and he's not going to be able to post. When I'm ready for the sweep, I'm going to grab his collar. I'm going to pull his collar like I'm trying to pull it right toward his hip, dipping his shoulder even more. And as I do that, I'm going to roll to my own shoulder while I'm using this hook to elevate his leg. Often I'm going to be able to pass right in the transition because my shin on shin hook allows me to come to almost a knee on belly position as I let go. I'm going to show that again one more time, or 2 more times from a couple different angles. So Jesse opens my guard. First move has to be to move back. I can use my hand here to defend the space. I'm going to move my butt back with my shoulders in front of my butt. My foot comes in front of his leg. The reason for this is if he's splitting my legs like this, it gives him a lot of passing options, including the knee cut, including the leg drag, leg staple passes, all that sort of stuff. So I want to make sure that I get both of my legs back in position. My foot comes right here. If he reaches for me, or if I go get his arm, I can get the sleeve and pass it underneath. This arm goes under his leg and grabs the sleeve. I'll also show a version of the sweep after I show this one where we can't get this grip that we want. Once we're here, we're almost all the way there. I'm going to grab his collar, pull it downward, and as I roll to my own shoulder, watch my left leg, I'm just lifting a little. He can't base, and we're going to come up and pass the guard for the ball and chain sweep. Let me show you that from one other angle, and then I'll show the second version for when he defends. So again, if his leg's in the middle here, I'm in a little bit of danger. You know, it's not the end of the world if Jesse starts to knee cut here, but if he does, I'm behind, right? I'm going to have to move my hips in order to defend my guard. Instead, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, so I'm going to move my hips right away. You notice how my shoulders come in front of my hips so that he can't flatten me out. Now my leg comes right in front. This hook is always active. You can see that my toes are engaged. My shin is against his shin. We can also use this hook to defend against the knee cut pass, which we'll show in a later video. Or some people will play shin on shin guard and just pull this type of guard, which we'll show a couple of moves from as well. I'm going to grab the far sleeve, feed it under, feed it, pass it to my other hand. If I get this grip, it's really high percentage sweep. This collar, honestly, this hand is sort of, this is the one that really gets it done. This is just sort of the cherry on top, but if you have a hand, might as well use it. Grab the collar, we're gonna pull him down to compromise his posture, lift, and sweep. And that's version 1 of the ball and chain sweep. But a lot of times, my partner isn't gonna let me pass his arm all the way under that far leg. If we can, that's great. You can see why that's high percentage. But let's see what happens if he won't let us do that. Remember, the 2 things that make the combat base really effective is that he can move and he has posture, right? So I want to compromise both of those things. I don't want him to be able to move effectively, and I don't want him to be able to still have posture. So I get my position with my shin on shin hook. I go for the sleeve, and I'm going to try to pass it, and he just won't let me, right? Exactly. keeps it over here. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to reach for his lapel or even for his belt with this hand. This is going to stop his movement, right? Because if I attach him to me, he's not going to be able to move as effectively. What I'll often do is I'll feed the lapel, and you see how that compromises Jesse's posture. If I can't get the sleeve, I'll get the lapel. If I can't get the lapel, I'll get the belt. And just attach him to me, I'm keeping this shin on shin hook. Now, I still need to get this sleeve, right? Because I need to bump him that way. But it's a lot easier to get the same side grip on the sleeve than to pass it to a cross grip under his leg. And so, I'm just going to make a sleeve grip. If he tries to keep that away from me, right, I can just come up. And so, eventually, if he's serious about passing the guard, he's going to reach for me. As he does, I'm just going to make the grip. Now, finish of the sweep is the same. If you want to use the same butterfly guard motion that we talked about, toes on the mat, lift, pass the guard. So those are two options for the ball and change sweep. You notice that they're fundamentally the same move. We trap a post on this side and bump him that way, but really critical, we can't let him initiate the pass before we get that shin on shin hook, because otherwise we're going to be defending instead of attacking. So always attack and never defend.